traveled to Las Vegas for the Raiders game, as well as those who came from the Bay Area, and of course, those who were locals, all sold out the stadium in anticipation of a Raiders win against the hated, what we call San Diego Chargers. But yes, yes, we know they are now the Los Angeles Chargers. In fact, I was there when the Chargers won the right to move from San Diego to Los Angeles, but that's another story. I'm talking about this travesty from a Raiders fan's perspective of a Monday night football game where the Chargers walked in and made it interesting for a little bit of the first half, but not much because after a midway point in the first quarter, it became quite clear that the Chargers had a better game plan than the Raiders. It also became quite clear that the Raiders didn't know how to adjust to it. The Raiders' offense, and I'm going to focus on the Raiders' offense because I believe that the defense did, on balance, a good enough job to hold the Chargers to 20 points. The trouble is that the Raiders' offense did a lousy job in not finishing drives and was only able to put up 9 points. They kept getting close and they never got there. And the key reason that never happened is simple. The game plan was awful. It was one dimensional. How many times did we see 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, Gino in the shotgun, which I have nothing against, really. I love the shotgun, but not an empty backfield, either one back on one side or the other. Hey, how about a full house backfield in a new design? But my point is that the Raiders did nothing to vary their offense to keep the Chargers' defense off balance, off track, always guessing. There was no guessing as to what the Raiders are going to do because of the type of formations that Chip Kelly called. And this has been a problem of his throughout his NFL career as a head coach and offensive coordinator. Well, head coach. His he has a small set of plays and formations, not a varied one. And once you zero in on what he does and what is capable of being done out of them, which if you study enough football, and everybody at the NFL level has, you know what's possible from formation before it happens, then guess what? For the Raiders, becomes a very, very hard day against the defense that knows exactly what they're going to do and can't do. And that's exactly what the Chargers presented. What should the Raiders have done? First of all, if you're going to use what I call the asymmetric offense, where you have 3 and 4 wide receivers to one side of the ball, make absolutely certain you're calling plays that don't then send the receiver to that strong side. Take advantage of the fact that you could put your back in motion from, let's say, 4 wide receivers to the left, but from left to right, and then out the quick flat and throw the ball to the person in the flat and give him green grass to run up through, ostensibly on the way to a touchdown, but definitely a big gain. And if you do that out of 3, 4 different types of formations, shift into a formation to keep them guessing, you can produce a confounding game plan from that approach alone. And then, of course, there's the runs. Always cross buck. We never see anything like a sweep, all right? Did they have a wide receiver sweep? Sure. Jet sweep? Sure. But predictable. There was no type of motion where the receiver or tight end would come in toward the quarterback and then turn around and go back where he came from and go out, say for a quick pass or for a 4 yard turnaround. There was no taking advantage of these, I call them tandem wide receiver sets, where you have, let's say, the flanker directly behind the split end, and then the split end runs an up pattern, and the flanker goes and runs a 7 yard hook pattern. So effectively using the split end as kind of a shield, right? And then running the hook pattern, or the end pattern. Um, or how about using the halfback out of the backfield after play action to the fullback in an I formation? And so full play action to the fullback, and have the halfback go the other way, and they have the quarterback turn around and throw to the halfback going in that direction. There are so many combinations, so much that could be done that wasn't done, that boggles the mind. And you have to ask, why? What did Chip Kelly help to accomplish by calling plays that consistently didn't work? It was agonizing to watch. It was like watching someone laying on a table and having them where they couldn't move, they were immobile, and somebody was pouring water on their nose, drip by drip by drip, and then forcing you to watch it, or making it so that you couldn't do anything but watch it because it was Monday Night Football. I mean, seriously, okay? That's how that's how the game felt to me, because you're consistently waiting for the person to get up and wipe the water away and get out of the room, change the environment. Instead, it just lays there and lets the water drip. That's what the Raiders offense did. And another key problem within that was Geno Smith's poor mechanics, and the fact that the Raider coaches were letting him execute those poor mechanics. I'm talking about long windups, so that he's winding all the way back, so they know he's going to throw. And by the time he gets his arm up to his near his ear, ready to release the ball, they're already raising their hand to bat the pass, as opposed to how James Winston throws the ball, where he starts right at the ear and then releases it. It's much harder to bat something like that, because guess what? It gets away quicker, a full half second quicker. These are factoids and mechanics you would think they know, but it's quite clear that they didn't know. The Raiders have a repair job to do on how they coach their offense, an intense one. And I say intense because it requires an honesty of that what they're doing isn't working right, and need to fix it before it produces more losses. Subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube, and bookmark NFL News by Zennie62.com. Thanks.